You know the scene. Neo standing alone in the middle of a courtyard, and suddenly he's surrounded by an endless army of Agent Smiths. Punches fly, bodies spin, the camera whips around. It feels like chaos inside a video game. But here's the twist. On set, there was only one Hugo Weaving, just one. So how did they turn a single actor into hundreds of clones back in 2002? Let's break down how the Wachowskis pulled off one of the craziest and most controversial fight scenes in movie history.
The Wachowskis knew Neo had to evolve. In the first movie, he became the one. But in the sequel, he had to prove it. And what better way than to pit him against impossible odds? Not one enemy, not a dozen, but hundreds of identical Smiths, an unstoppable swarm. That idea became what fans now call the Burly Brawl. But inventing the idea was the easy part. Actually filming it, in 2002, it was practically science fiction.
On set, there was only Hugo Weaving, so the effects team had to clone him. Literally. They scanned his face and body to create a digital replica. Then stunt performers, all dressed as Smith, performed the choreography. In post-production, Hugo's face was mapped onto theirs. For close-ups, that was the real Hugo. For wide shots with endless clones, fully digital Smiths filled the frame. It was a mix of live action and CGI so seamless it blew people's minds, at least in 2003. But Neo wasn't just fighting clones. He had to do things no human could possibly do. Keanu Reeves trained hard and shot most of the fight himself. But some moments were simply impossible, like flipping across rooftops or knocking down dozens of Smiths with one swing. That's when the team turned to a radical solution, a fully CGI Neo. They scanned Keanu, built a 3D version of him, and dropped that digital Neo right into the fight. It was one of the earliest attempts to make a photorealistic human in an action sequence. And while it wasn't perfect, it was groundbreaking. But none of this would have worked without the technology that made the whole fight feel alive. The real magic came from something called the virtual camera. Instead of being stuck on a tripod or dolly, filmmakers could now move the camera anywhere inside the 3D environment. That meant impossible shots, flying around Neo mid-kick, sweeping across a wall of Smiths, dropping straight into the chaos like you were in the fight yourself. It gave the Burly Brawl its unique energy, wild, fluid, and larger than life. Of course, behind the scenes, it looked nothing like the final movie. Keanu fought a handful of stuntmen in matching suits, while cameras circled the action. No giant crowd of Smiths, no over-the-top acrobatics. All of that came later, stitched together with digital doubles and CGI magic.
When The Matrix Reloaded hit theaters, the Burly Brawl instantly became the most talked about scene. Some fans were blown away. "This is insane! We've never seen action like this!" Others were skeptical. "Neo looks like a video game character. Smiths look too fake." And honestly, both were true. But whether you loved it or hated it, you couldn't stop talking about it.
Looking back now, the CGI hasn't aged perfectly. But in 2003, the Burly Brawl was a revolution. Digital doubles, face cloning, virtual cameras, techniques we see everywhere in today's blockbusters all trace back to this moment. From Marvel to Avatar, so many of today's spectacles owe something to Neo's fight against Agent Smith. So next time you rewatch The Matrix Reloaded and see Neo swinging a pole through a crowd of identical Smiths, remember this. On set, it was just Keanu, a few stuntmen, and a crazy dream from the Wachowskis. The rest? Pure movie magic that changed Hollywood forever.